Morning. So I'm just going to recap what happened week commencing the 13th of May. Not made many detailed notes this week. Just literally the pace and speed of the week is just pretty much overtaking me one way or another. So I think it was probably Wednesday before I first started making any real notes. So good news is obviously that keeps the podcast a much shorter listen. So on Monday we had really a bit of a surprising email that I hadn't seen coming. We have a generic sales inbox which we get loads of spam emails in all the time, so I'm quite used to rooting through. I'm usually the one who gets rid of the spam emails. I was just going through and I came across this email. I thought, what is this? And it was from an email from a local college. I was like, they're asking for something, and I'm thinking, okay, so they must be inviting us to some kind of either like event, or are they asking, or is it because it's the same college that Mac's going to and they're asking to, it's just an email that somehow or other meant for Mac but came here. But then when I was reading more and more detail, it wasn't at all. They were asking us to come in and see whether we could help them with their event point of sale for an open evening coming up in October. I was like, where has this even come from? It had me totally baffled. So turns out that by pure fluke, the client was dealing already, or they already have an agency that's called GSD, which I think stands for something like Graham Shapiro Design or something like that. And GSD also is three letters that also mean a lot to us as a company, because that's our kind of like a mantra or a company phrase, which is get stuff done. So when she typed that into to Google, it came up with us. It's like higher up than them in the search rankings, which is really bizarre. And off the back of that, she then sent us the inquiry, which is really strange. Anyway, we also, on the Monday, was another day of what do you class as positive or interesting news, to the fact that we are now invited to another pitch to look after the local shopping centre in town, which is called Barron's Quay. We're going to be in a pitch versus other agencies again, which is one of these things that obviously we are, it's not nice having to do pitches, but ultimately if we win, we win, and if we get a loss on it, then we've got to look at ourselves, take learning from it, and then employ those to the next time we come into a pitch scenario. Ironically, one of the people who we're pitching against is again Cunning Plan, who seem to be they just seem to be our current nemesis at the moment. We're still sore from losing to them on the Barron's on the Warrington bid thing, and how they got the win instead of us. So we will certainly be taking on some of the learnings and some of the feedback as to why they got the work ultimately when our pitch was better and our prices were more competitive. It's just like, well, what else do we have to do? And it would appear that we have to, there is an argument for having a more mature lineup, shall we say. I also think that when I was reflecting on this when we had a meeting later on that week, that it's not necessarily all about maturity or experience, it's about relevant experience. So for example, when our videographer was talking about what he'd done at university, and then that this was pretty much his first job, what it didn't really get over to the client, in my opinion, was the fact that, you know, doing videography and documentaries is this guy's passion. He's got, this is Josh we're talking about, by the way, you know, he's got documentaries online and videos that are online that have got views of over 200,000 people. So that's like really relevant experience, and shows that's the market and the world going out there and viewing his stuff and saying that they like it. Do you know? So on a learning point of view, that's one of the things that I think that I'm going to be coming along to this particular pitch. I'm not saying for 1 minute or anything like that, that I'm going to make a difference, but if we do lose out to anybody this time, be it Cunningham or anybody else, then it certainly won't be for the reason that they didn't have somebody who looked older within the makeup of the pitch. So on Tuesday, Wend spent quite a bit of time chasing up the estate agents, trying to get some feedback on where we're at in terms of the conveyancing of the houses. We were kind of like wondering, where is the hold up? Is it us? Is it further up the chain, the people we're buying from? Is it further down the chain? Turns out at the moment it's like some kinds of queries that relate to a little bit further down the chain. I do find these kind of things puzzling. I mean, if you're buying, say for example, if we're looking to buy Wend, then we had, in my mind, we were quite justified to query about the build quality and the safety of the roof, etc., and the money that was going to be cost to change the roof and the stables. But the one for the actual house that's been there since the 1800s, well, that's going to be signs of whatever, damp, wood infestation, whatever it may be, and that goes with like any kind of character property. In my book, things are not going to be perfect. So currently at the moment, I think there is like a little bit of a hold up with the house that's in Davenham in terms of some structural thing to do with its gable end, which is like a tall pitchy bit at the side of a house. So anyway, I think that really boils down to, or what I've been really saying to Wend, is this is just a question of patience for us. There's not really anything we can do to affect or change what's going on further down the line, and the idea of putting the house back on to fully market it again is definitely not something that appeals to me, for the amount of time and effort and emotional energy, as much as anything else, it drains from you. So yeah, I'm not really keen on that. So Wednesday, we got rid of, started some of the stuff that had been on eBay in terms of things that had maybe higher perceived value, that I'd asked Rob to help me list on there. Some of those things went. So the matte moss lamp went. Somebody came to collect the monitor risers. The little BMW pedal car was actually sold on a private basis. The wheel was repaired and that was sold. We had a mental health. It was Mental Health Awareness Week. This week just gone. We did quite a few things on there, some short videos, clips and what have you. And yeah, it does make me think, and that's the whole thing about Mental Health Awareness Week, I suppose, to bring it more front of mind. We are lucky that we're growing up in a time where these things, this problem, mental health problem, which ultimately it's your brain that's running everything, that controls the way that you feel, your feelings, your emotions, and what have you, and it is important. And up until recently, the word or the phrase mental health wasn't even in the public awareness at all. There was no searches on it or anything. Probably, I think it was up to about 7 years ago the actual term didn't really exist. And yeah, now it is. I even spoke to my mum and dad about it actually, and asked if they knew somebody who had who'd committed suicide or anything, or whether they knew the reasons why. And my dad did, funnily enough. Somebody who he worked with threw himself under a train at McGull, and nobody knew the reason why that was. But obviously there would be some kind of link to mental health problem, and it just goes to show that even back in those days they just didn't talk about it, and my dad didn't really have any more details other than it was sad, and the guy ended his life. So we had the iPad, which has been, unbeknownst to me at work, the iPad has been broken for about, it turns out it's been broken for months, and it was just that they didn't have the passcode. So that's like one of the things that I did, manage to get that working again. And that's going to be, even though it's an older iPad, the actual quality of them, Apple makes some great quality products. The iPad is one of those. So when we had the mental health week, having the little iPad and delivering, there was a video about I think it's called a black dog, and that was relating to your mental health. And the sound quality was great. I was looking at the viewing angles was great, and the relevance of that is because going forward, I think this week coming, where Kat's going out with somebody who is pro-bid to go and visit a lot of the businesses and show them the video, which is encouraging people to vote yes for the bid and that means that then the bid collects its money for another 5 years or something like that, which obviously it's good for us, but it genuinely is good for the town. I've watched the video, it's very emotive as videos are. I went on LinkedIn at the weekend, and it had quite a lot of interactions from people across all the bids, saying how much they liked the video, how much they thought the storytelling it was good. So that was great. And yeah, Kat will be, and the other guy will be using iPads to go around and ensure these people are going to watch the video, and the video is as much to recognise as much the things that the bid has achieved as it is to say, well, look, if we didn't have the bid and the support that the bid chair and what have you gives to these local businesses, and its ability to listen to their problems and stuff like that, it's more of a question of understanding for them. Okay, they're saving a little bit of money, but it's also the things that they're going to lose out that make the town as good as it can be, and really that literally for the town to survive and thrive, it's going to have to look its best. Would you want to go into a town that's looking tatty and full of rubbish and what have you? It would definitely be a deterrent. So yeah, that's important. We did end up getting some kind of an orange cover for it. I don't know how that even happened, but it's one of these things that every time I see it's either going to bug me or make me laugh one way or the other. Thursday was an interesting day. We've got another job to do for a digital set of screens at one of the restaurant units. So this one's down in Reading, so the guys drove down to Reading on Thursday, let's say, and Rob, to assess it, just to survey it, take the sizes, and just really to just give it a good recce so that they know what they're doing before they do the install this coming week. Friday we had an internal meeting as a as a meeting just really to discuss Baron's Key. So quite handy really. The meetings that we have are all carried out, the majority of them are carried out in a management office, and that being the case, I'm usually trying to sit and get on with my work, but there will be times when something will come to my mind, and then because I'm on wheels, I'm able to literally scoot across the room on wheels to get to the head of the table and put my 2 penneth in, which is funny. I think it's getting a lot easier for me to make comments and share them when the information that I learn on podcasts and whatever is sticking in my brain, and then when there's a question, I'm able to come up with what I think are relevant ideas, or things that we need to look in. So I think on Baron's Key, I've already touched on, we are going to go in with a slightly different team, with a slightly different stance, and we'll see whether we come out with a win this time. Really want this work. Really want the job as well. I can't remember what day is it now. I think is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday actually. I've not made a note on here, but Wednesday I actually went to this local college and sat down. I felt quite nervous. I think I almost had the shakes a little bit. I don't know why. I suppose it was high nerves, but presentation I hope went well. Wend had done a PowerPoint presentation, and I had some real struggles pulling some files between our server here and the one that works. So it was going incredibly slow, so it was taking like 5 minutes to open a 2 meg JPEG and what have you. So I really don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, I literally made it to the meeting literally bang on time, which is a bit embarrassing. I would have liked to have been a lot earlier, but due to technical difficulties, I only just literally scraped in. Met them, had a really nice chat. Ended up chatting for much longer than there was no time limit on it as far as I was aware, but the meeting ended up going on for 2 hours, and we pretty much touched on lots of things in terms of things that I thought that we could do for the college. They're very, very traditional in terms of what they do at the moment, and I think it's an interesting one because they are so successful. I think I actually asked the question. It's a curious one. Normally people could see as if they were having a problem with their own marketing or something like that and needing more help, whereas these guys, just their reputation more than anything else, and people knowing what they're about, that's to a degree that does all the marketing for them. So anyway, we'll see. I think that went think and hope that went well. A 2-hour meeting, and all kinds of smiles and what have you. Just have to hope, because there would be such, for us again, such what I would classify as a dream or a perfect client, the local on the doorstep. People who work at 24/7 have actually been through them as an educational body. So yeah, I think we could do great things. Whether they let us do all the things that we'd want to do immediately or not, I wouldn't say, but we can certainly make them aware of it and try some little things on a small scale, and that would be there's so much opportunity for us to learn things there as well, which is great. Friday in the evening, sat down and decided to download all of the Godfather movies. It's a trilogy. I think came to about £18 or something along those lines. I think it's rated something like one of the number one movies of all time. I never watched it. I don't know why. I just didn't fancy it. It's not for the sake that I don't like their gangster movie genre or anything like that else. I've watched Casino amongst other ones, Goodfellas, which are all like gangster movies, and I have to say I'm not quite sure what the what the big deal is about. I don't even know why in this day and age it's still got such high ratings on things like Rotten Tomatoes and the like. It's shot in 1972, this particular film, and it does look dated, and sometimes that's maybe not a bad thing. There are plenty of films, if I watch Point Break now, it still looks really dated. It's 80s and 90s or 80s. It's an old movie, but anyway, it's still, irrespective of, it still looks contemporary. Whereas this is like an old film that's set in a further back old, and it's, I don't know, the pace of the movie. Anyway, I think it's maybe along the same lines as that other one, that Christmas one that I like. It's a Wonderful Life. When I first watched that, I was like, it's supposed to be the greatest movie of all time. And I watched it, and I watched about the first maybe 10 minutes, and I just switched off. I just thought it wasn't doing it for me. I thought it was a bit poor. But then when we watched it again, the previous year we watched it all the way through, it was good. So I'm not going to completely give up on it, but I have to say I'm just going to have to leave it until I've got it. It's a 3-hour movie, so I need to have 3 hours that I can just completely hose away on my own, and that's a rare thing. I don't know, maybe I'll be able to watch it maybe if I'm on holiday or something like that, when in Florida. Maybe I can download it off there. I have to speak to Max, see how that goes. Did quite a bit of social interaction on the Friday night while I think Wend was watching something on Eurovision or something like that. So went through, replied to some of the things on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Saturday had a good sleep, a really good rest. Dog started woofing at 5:30 as per normal, and went down there, did my usual bit, slept on the couch, and slept all the way through till 9 o'clock. So I think I'd gone to bed, is it something like about after 11, half 11, maybe 12 o'clock, something like that. So I'd had like 9 hours sleep, and I think that's probably sometimes on the go-karting what I miss out of, because I do have to get up early, and whilst you can't pull back all the sleep that you would have lost during the week, you can bank a little bit more in the way of recovery time, so that was good. Watched the Anfield Wrap, which is an interesting one. They had a behind the scenes video about how they do all the filming and stuff. That was interesting. Watched Ben, who used to work for us, his little video in terms of his personal vlog, just reflecting on the stuff that he's been doing in filming of the last 2 white rhinos that are in the wild. Amazing experience, seriously. You can see now, it's great to see how somebody who's followed his dream, made connections and what have you, and those connections that he's making are paying off. And I don't know what how much money he's had to put for things, but he's certainly got a plane ticket to I think is it Kenya, the case, something along those lines. But yeah, that was interesting. And the other thing that I thought was really good about Ben, there was an excerpt which showed that some of the footage that he'd taken, he'd managed to lose. And he doesn't have to put that in his personal vlog, but that I think is a good thing, because he's documenting that not everything goes perfect, and it's a little bit embarrassing and what have you. But fair play to him, I think. So on Saturday, I went through like the eBay account going for the car boot sale, and went through and had a look at what things had sold, what things hadn't sold, and then I spent most of Friday then loading up. And I went to work, got the van, and started then loading the van up with the stuff in the garage and the stuff out the loft, to the point where it took much longer than I thought to actually get all the stuff in there. I ended up with 6 bin bags full of cuddly toys, and the van itself was literally packed to the roof. Literally to the roof. I had stuff in the inside of the van that was, as much as I could get in without being dangerous, that I couldn't see out the side doors or out the side window. And so I didn't actually get to bed till 1 o'clock. So that really did overrun. That took me much. That was a lot harder than what I thought. And in truth, in some areas because a lot of the stuff that's left up there in the loft is kind of like toys that are grouped together. I'm not convinced whether they'll actually sell easily on a car boot sale. But I definitely will be doing another one. So Sunday I was supposed to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to leave at 6:30. Somehow or other managed to miss the alarm and wake up at 22 minutes past 6, and I was like, oh no, it's 22 minutes past 6. I thought, got to get my contact lenses in, just literally got to go straight off and get the butties out that I'd made for myself out of the fridge. And yeah, literally had to set off. So not the ideal start for the day. Got there at 7 o'clock, which is when you're supposed to get there, and the car boot sale's not really supposed to open in my understanding to the public till 8, but it was literally like rammed. People are there, getting stuff off me as soon as I literally opened the door. And I suppose if you're wondering, you've probably been wondering why I'm wearing this hat, and excuse me. And that's because that's what I wore on the Sunday. So 2 reasons. Number one, if it ends up getting sunny, which it often does, I'll end up end up burning really badly one way or another. But the main thing was to grab people's attention. So if you're doing a car boot sale or something, I had, on this particular one, I had almost like a cowboy outfit out, so I could pull the usual cheesy cracks in terms of things like cheesy cracks, that sounds really bad, in terms of it being like looking like Woody. So I could go like, you got a friend in me, and just say things like, oh, there are loads of cowboys around here but I'm not one of them, howdy partner, all those kind of things. So when I come to do my car boot sale again, I will definitely be reusing this cowboy hat, which was in the dressing up box. There was another hat that I was looking at that was there was a leopard skin hat, same design to this, but I couldn't think of any kind of story or joke that I could really thread. It would just be really just the fact that it was just a funny hat. So the other thing that I had was there's a minion that we've got for sale where you press his eyes and he makes all kinds of funny noises and a bit of fart noises and laughs and what have you. But that means that I don't have to go like, hey, I could just literally hand him in my arm, was pressing the button in the middle of him, and he was drawing, making the noises that are drawing people's attention. And then once I've got them in that eye line, I can go, hey, come over here and have a look at Cuddly Heaven, I think is what I referred to, which was a big 2 gigantic paddling pools full of cuddly toys. And then there was some books as well that were going for like 50p a book, and maybe not certainly volume wise, that's probably I sold a lot of the cuddly toys. I mean, why we end up buying them, it just literally just leaves me lost for words and completely puzzled, because some of these ones that was eBay, was like, God, we literally only bought those last year in Florida, and already they're on the car boot sale. But bottom line, really started quieting down about 12 o'clock, but I stayed until 1, because you still get people who then packed up from other stalls then going around and seeing what's still left that they can buy themselves. And finished about maybe 1ish, something like that. So taking off the £10 entrance fee that we paid for the van and the pitch for it, we actually came back with 208 quid in terms of the the proceeds from the sale, which I think was pretty good for what, in all intents and purposes, is just stuff that other people would either A, give to charity, or B, just literally put straight in the skip because they'd be too embarrassed to sell it to charity. I mean, it was something, one of the comments that I had on Facebook actually, from a guy called Richard Claridge, that was on there, and he, said, I did a car boot sale, everything was on there for £1 and people were trying to haggle me down to 12p, and he wouldn't do it again. And it's not, you do get people haggling, but I quite enjoy it. And ironically, there was more than one person that came past and actually commented that I was a good salesperson, and it's quite funny when you actually get people who are there trying to get rid of their rubbish, and then they're coming around looking at your store while they're supposed to be selling on theirs. Other people don't really interact, they just sit there and people walk past the pictures of the tables, and literally sell nothing, kind of things. They literally don't engage with them. And I'm like, hey, hi, what have you, hello, and doing everything I can to engage with them. And it's not something I find difficult. Does that make me a good salesperson? I don't know, but it certainly delivers more in the way of, that kind of attention grabbing, definitely delivers more in the way of sales than just sitting passively watching people go by. And I think the last time, it was probably 12 years ago, was around the last time that we did a car boot sale. That's when Wend and I moved together, and then we ended up with 2 of this and 2 of that, because we were combining the things that we had. So then we had a load of stuff that just needed selling on a car boot sale. And one of the worst things was I sold the sandpit, but what I'd not realised is that the sandpit had already been sold, but not on my personal account, but on my work email account. They came around to collect it on Sunday, and of course I'd sold it at the car boot sale, so that was a bit embarrassing. The double-edged sword on this was that Wend actually ended up giving them back £5 as opposed to the £1 that the sandpit had sold for. And on that point, that's one of the things that I did differently on the Sunday. So Rob had listed these all with auctions starting from like a 99p, and then for me, that's good if the things are popular things, so you get many people bidding on it, and then that increases the price. If you think that something's got value but maybe only one person's going to look for it, then say for example, I don't know, I relisted, took some of them down and relisted some of them as buy it now prices, just at a price that I'd be happy. I think it was on things like the IKEA shelves or something like that. They've got to be worth 15 or 20 quid for somebody. They couldn't buy something brand new. In fact, you can't even buy a shelf for that kind of thing, a display shelf for that kind of money at the at the minute. So why sell it for 99p? Sell it for, just put it on there as a buy it now for 15 quid and just leave it on there till it sells. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. Weekend as well was, because now Joe doesn't clean for us anymore, had to spend a lot of time doing, we divvy up the work. I actually put mine on a Trello list and got a tick list of the things that I've cleaned. So mine is all to do with like cleaning bathrooms, sinks and toilets. So I did that over the last couple of days. It just burns like so much time. Mac, our son, is currently going through his final exams at the moment, and he's got such bad luck. We have he's definitely got flu. He's really, really poorly. He's got a sore chest. He's really, really ill. I mean, he's been through the whole of his school life, and I think he's had one, maybe a day off where he fractured his elbow or something like that. But basically, he'll have had less than 5 days off in his whole school career. And he was off on Friday. He's just really so poorly. So it's definitely flu, muscular aches, that kind of thing. Yeah, he's just in a bad way. Sunday's also the last Game of Thrones episode ever. You know, a lot of people moaning that it's been rushed, this last series and what have you, but I think, you know, yeah, okay, could it have been better, and could they have made the last series be, instead of it being a last series, could it have been like more episodes or longer ones? But do you know what? They've got to decide to tell the story in the way that they want to do, and I've got to say I've proper really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying rewatching the current or Game of Thrones right from the very start. Anybody who watches it and then you know, if anybody who's watching it now, I would definitely say rewatch it again all from the start, because there's things that you learn and characters that you identify with that you can see, and you can watch in a different way that you wouldn't necessarily have done when you're watching them from the very start again. So I've had to send out an email this morning to everybody saying no Game of Thrones spoilers, because there will inevitably be some people who would have stayed up till 4 o'clock this morning or whatever, 3:30 or something. So yeah, got that to look forward to this evening, and yeah, onwards we go again. It's going to be a full week this week, but we've got another bank holiday coming on again so quickly. Lots of things going on at the moment. So okay, so thank you for listening, and until next week.